Now for these next set of examples, we're going to be using 2 points to write equations. So in the previous video, we did the first half of this process when we found the slope between the 2 points. But now we have to actually go through and find the y-intercept so that we can write the full equation. And again, remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to go ahead and go through finding the slope first. I'll go ahead and use the slope formula for this one. So my slope formula tells me that m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 I have labeled as 1 minus y1, which is -3, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 2. Whenever I subtract a negative, that really means I'm adding a positive. So anytime you see two negatives together, they're really just going to become positive. So I have 1 plus 3, which is 4, over 4 minus 2, which is 2. So that means that my slope here is 2. So I went through the very first half of this problem. So I have my m, but now I need to find my b. So I know my m is equal to 2. But now I need to find my b. So to do that, I'm actually going to plug in my slope into this formula and my x and my y. And where I find my x and my y is from these 2 points. So you can choose either one of these. I want to go ahead and choose 4, 1. And so that means my 4 is my x and 1 is my y. And now I'm going to plug all those values into this equation. So my y is 1, my m is 2, my x is 4, and I want to find my b value. Well, 2 times 4, I get 8. And then I'll subtract 8 from both sides. And I get -7 is equal to b. So I have my y, I have my b, and now I can plug those in to my slope-intercept form, and I get y equals 2x minus 7. My b went here, and my m went there. Okay, let's try another one. So first step, I always want to find my slope first, so I want to go ahead and use my stacking method on this one. I don't mind whichever one you choose to do. You do not have to do both. Just choose whichever one works better for your brain. So find my change in y. To get from -2 to 10, I need to add 12. -2 plus 12 gets me 10. To get from 1 to 3, I need to add 2, because 1 plus 2 gets me 3. And then 12 divided by 3, I get 4. So I have that m is equal to 4. Now I can choose either one of these points. It doesn't matter which one you choose, you'll get the right answer at the end. I'm just going to go ahead and go with my first one. So that means that my x is going to be 1 and y is -2. And then now I need to plug all that information into my formula here. So my y, I see that's -2 is equal to m, which is 4, times x, which is 1, plus b. 4 times 1, I get 4. And then to get b by itself, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And I get -6 is equal to b. So my answer here is y is equal to 4x minus 6. My b second, and my m goes in front of my x. Okay, this one is really just the same thing, but now we're writing a linear function. And so you notice that instead of having just the ordered pairs, I have it in my function format. So I have f of -3 is equal to 5, f of -8 is equal to 1. And so remember, that's really the same thing as the point -3, 5, -8, 1. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. I want you to finish out this first problem, and when you think you have it, go ahead and press play. So this one ends up being a little bit tricky. Notice that my slope, it ends up being a fraction. And so this one, you are going to end up with some fractions at the end. So when I plug all of my information in, I have 5 is equal to my m, which is 4/5, times x, which is -3, plus b. And multiply that out, I have -12/5 plus b. And then I'm going to add 12/5 to both sides. And so 5, this is really the same thing as 25/5. So you notice I'm going to get a common denominator. And then when I add these, I get 37/5. And so the answer you should have gotten for this one is, I'm going to go ahead and put this as f of x since it's in function notation, is equal to 4/5 x plus 37/5. Another tricky spot that you may have encountered was this -4/-5. Since they're both negative on top and bottom, those cancel out to be a positive 4/5. Okay, looking at this last one, I have -2, 2, to -2. To get from 2 to -2, I subtract 4. To get from -2 to 2, I add 4. And so my m is going to equal to -4/4, which is -1. So I have m equals -1. And I'm going to use my first point, -2, 2. So my y is 2 is equal to my m, which is -1, times x, which is -2, plus b. -1 times -2, I get 2. And then if I subtract 2 from both sides, I see that my b actually ends up being 0. And so when I'm writing my equation, I have y equals -1x plus 0. But then I can go ahead and simplify that to just saying y equals -x. I don't need that plus 0 at the end because it's just going to equal x. And I don't need the -1 in front, it can just be -x.